I don't want to be the person I'm looking at and thinking, sometimes you just look at videos and you think to yourself, Hello, hey, hi, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Shirley. To my returning faces, welcome back. As I always say, come inside, get cozy, get comfortable. It's a new topic, it's a new video. I know it's been a while, but like I always say, when I try to keep on schedule, but life happens, guys. Life happens in the background. So, as you can tell by today's video, we are discussing a topic that is ever so popular. And this, this video was actually, the topic of today's video was motivated, or the motivation behind it was a conversation that I had a while ago with my sister. We have a lot of deep conversations, okay? And she mentioned, why not take this up, take it up as create content with this. And I thought, let's talk about it, because it's something that we all engage in on a regular basis. Okay, I don't know all of us, but most of us, let me not generalize, most of us engage in on a regular basis, and it's a topic of oversharing on social media. All platforms, okay? All platforms. So this is not only for the Instagrammers, Facebookers, Twitters, no. It can even be WhatsApp. It's everything. It's everything that's public. It's every platform where our private lives or our personal business can be displayed. So let's talk about that. So have you ever wondered why people overshare? Okay, if you're anything like me, this is something I think about a lot. Especially on Instagram, I found that usually when there will be something that my eyes will just find, or a video that I come across, and I'm thinking to myself in that moment, why are we living in a digital era where TMI or too much information is just become a normal way of living? Whatever happened to being private or just keeping things behind closed doors? And I took to the internet with this because it's not something, because I'm a person who doesn't share too much about my personal life. I want to have a better understanding, a clearer understanding. And which better way to search through Google? Because we know Google gives us answers to a lot of things. And so that's the reason behind today's video. I want to know the why people share, but offer tips. I'm going to come with the tips. Okay, so offer tips that can help us if we are in the habit of oversharing or dishing too much of our personal lives on public platforms. How can we avoid that? So I've got 5 tips. I've got 5 reasons and 5 tips. Let's get into that. Let's go. Okay, so before we get into today's video, I'm going to say, grab your cup of comfort, get comfortable, okay? Cozy up, whatever that looks like to you. The conversation needs to be had. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about those 5 reasons. So the first one is craving validation. So let's just get real, okay? Let's get real for a minute. It's the likes, okay? That's what I'm thinking. It's the likes, it's the shares, it's that feel good. Some people get that feel good, or some people get their fix, so to say, from different things. Okay, I happen to get my feel good from food. Okay, I happen to get my feel good from being in nature. Being around good company, that's my feel good. Some people get their feel good or draw that feel good from posting, from the likes, from the attention that particular post creates. So another reason is FOMO, which is also known as the fear of missing out. And I know a lot of people feel that especially when they see other people posting their fabulous life, the luxury of it, my adventurous life. Some people feel left out. Often some people feel left out, and they feel that they too need to prove themselves in that sense. And for that reason, they take to sharing their personal lives to feel validated, or to feel that they have worth in their lives too. Another one being vulnerability and connection. For some people, sharing their personal lives can foster a sense of connection with other people. Some people crave that. A lot of people find that it's a way to build a meaningful relationship with other people. So the fourth reason is pressure to perform. Societal pressure is there, it exists. We can acknowledge it, we live through it. But I think for some people, the pressure just gets a bit too much sometimes, and it pushes them to a corner where they feel that they need to present their life in a perfect way. And that pressure can sometimes lead to oversharing. Okay, so now that we know why or what motivates oversharing, let's get to the grit. Okay, let's get to the meat of the video. How do we avoid being a social star or getting ourselves out of the spotlight, or avoiding being in the spotlight, caught in the spotlight? Because I know I don't speak for myself when I say that I've seen too many cringe-worthy videos. Cringe. And so I don't want to be that person I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person I'm looking at and thinking, you know, sometimes you just look at videos and you think to yourself, why did you do that? Who posted that? What were you thinking? I don't want to be that. You don't want to be there, so let's get into our 5 tips on how we can avoid that. Let's go. So tip number 1, numero uno, is think before you post. When I say to you, think, always think. Think before you hit that post. Is it something that you would be comfortable with discussing or sharing with a stranger? Because that's a question I often ask myself. Would I be comfortable speaking about this particular topic or sharing this particular picture if I were in the company of a stranger? Because most of the time, 90% of the time, if you're a person who's got your settings on public, the people viewing that or the person reading your post is a stranger. So would you feel comfortable speaking about that topic or sharing that particular picture with that person face to face? If not, then Shirley's suggestion is keep it offline. Keep it offline. Don't go there. Don't do it. So the second tip is to set clear boundaries. So setting boundaries. If you know me or you're acquainted with me, or you have been acquainted with me for a long time, you'll know that I'm serious about my boundaries. This is something that I'm trying to be intentional about in all aspects of my life, is to set clear boundaries. If this is something that you're not comfortable with, or something that you're comfortable with, take the decision. You need to decide what you think should go out there and what shouldn't. So in terms of posting, what are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable with other people seeing this particular picture or knowing about this particular experience, or whatever the case may be? Set clear boundaries. If not, then keep it private. And I feel another thing that's also important to me, how are them birds? Please excuse the birds in the background. And no, I don't live near the ocean, but it's just for aesthetics, so it's okay. It just creates that relaxing environment. Okay, let's just look at it that way. But anyway, let's not digress. So communicate these preferences to family members, to colleagues, whoever you find yourself associating with on a regular basis. Put it out there. Don't be scared, or don't feel shy, or don't be apprehensive when it comes to that, because it'll just make you feel uncomfortable when you do see something on a public platform of a moment. Or I'm not only speaking about what you post, but I'm including, this extends to whoever else you communicate with, or the people part of your circles. Share it and put it out there and say, listen, if you're not comfortable with a certain thing, hey, look, I'm not comfortable with this. Think of how you would feel. Always put yourself in the next person's shoes. So that goes both ways, okay? Respecting other people's boundaries, but also first and foremost, setting your own boundaries, but being clear about it, because we can set boundaries, but not be clear about it. And sometimes that requires repetition. So if it means that you need to repeat this particular boundary more than once, do that. Do it. So the third tip is to consider the impact. Okay, so for number 3, it's all about considering the impact. And I think that deep thought needs to go. Sometimes not that deep, but just think. Think before you post something. How does it impact the next person if there's another person, or if it directly affects another person? How would it affect them? Would that person be comfortable with your post? Would it harm their reputation? Would it invade their privacy in some way? And this is something I think about often, because, okay, if you know my Instagram account, have we all been through phases where we've posted mindlessly without considering another person? Yes, we have. I mean, come on. I mean, none of us are squeaky clean to say, oh, I'm perfect in this sense. No. But the reason why I say being considerate, be mindful. Be mindful of what another person would feel like. I mean, if you're that type of person who's comfortable and you don't mind, it doesn't always mean that the next person thinks the way you do or feels the way you do about that particular subject or picture or area of their life. So just be considerate, because the next person might not appreciate it. Just think about it. You know, that selfie that you were taking with your group of friends, ask them, hey, it doesn't mean because we're friends or we're on that level with each other that we don't need to respect the privacy of other people. So if you look good in that picture and you want to post yourself and you want to get it out there, cut them out. If they're not comfortable with it, then maybe that's not the picture. Find another one, keep it offline. But you know where I'm going with this. Just be considerate to the feelings and the privacy of other people. Let's move on to the fourth. So the fourth tip, my dear love, is to pause and reflect. Just pause and reflect for that moment and think, is this necessary? Maybe your emotional state at that point requires that, or just for your own feel good for that moment, you feel, you know what, I need to pause. Or not pause, but I need to post this. And so before, just think. Just take a moment to breathe and think, is this something I want to put out there? Because 10 to 1, sometimes you go back and it's that delete, but the damage is already done. If it's something but because we were in the heat of the moment, we just thought, let me put it out there. And then it doesn't look so good. A couple of scandals here and there. No, I'm just saying, it might not necessarily be something scandalous, even though people create scandal out of anything and everything. Take a moment to think about it. Is something that, is it the right choice that you're making for yourself on a public level? Because there's a lot of backlash that comes from things that we put out there, whether it's private or public. There's always something that's going to come from it, and there's always somebody that's going to comment about it. Or is it something that you'd like to cherish and keep for yourself? Because not everything needs to be put out there. Think about it. Is something I want to put out there, or could I speak to somebody privately? Do I have a trusted confidant? Do I have a friend that I could rather share this with than to put it out there? So, highlight of this point is to stop and think about it before you just pause and reflect. Just think about the consequences and the repercussions that could follow. I'm just joking now. You know what I'm saying. Let's move on. So finally, tip number 5 is to know your privacy settings. Do you know your privacy settings? Like, are you familiar with what goes on your platforms? So if you're anything like me, okay, look, everybody goes through with this and that. Of when you're setting up things, privatize this, I want this only so many people to see, or I'd like my account private as a whole. I'm that person. I'm that person who's going to select who gets to see my posts, what type of posts I'm going to put out there. Now again, like I said earlier, I do have an Instagram that's public, but I'm selective of what I post. And being the private person that I am, I value my privacy. And I know that there's certain things that I don't mind putting out there but there's certain things I'd like to keep to myself. Or there's certain things I'd like to keep within my circle. And so familiarizing yourself with your privacy settings on the different platforms, the various platforms available, check it out, see, because sometimes you assume that it's there. And next thing you know, pictures traveling around. You're on the feed. and you didn't understand how you got there. And once it's out there, let me tell you, when internet throws it out there, you cannot get it back. So just, you want to make a point of, not only for that, there's predators out there, okay? It's dangerous out there, no, but I'm just saying, it is dangerous. And we don't know who or what type of eyes are on us all the time. And you want to be aware. You know what? It's another way of setting a boundary. So just familiarize yourself with your setting. Is it something that somebody else can share as well? Because this is something I didn't know. Sometimes you could sort of post it where people can, I know with YouTube videos, they can do that, where if you post a video, there's a setting where somebody else can remix or edit this video. Like, you can allow permission for that. So just be mindful and read. If it's something that you don't understand, take it to the internet and ask for clarity. Hey, listen, what does this mean? Or ask somebody that you know. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. So just check your settings, check it out. If there's something that you want to keep just to your group, limit it to only that. And usually the platforms are very clear about their settings, especially when they explain what it is. So it's not that complicated. So that's your 5 tips. So there you have it. Your 5 tips on how to avoid oversharing. And just remember that the purpose of this video is not to throw shade at anyone. Some people are comfortable. For some people, it's not even considered oversharing. If you're a person who's comfortable being public about your private life, what's it to me? I mean, to each his own. I'm just putting it out there for people who want to avoid, just to offer tips of how not to get into that rut of oversharing. Or if you are a person who doesn't, or you do share a lot of your personal life and you want to sort of draw back a little bit, these tips are for you. These are for you. So again, it's not shade to anyone. If that's something that you enjoy doing, you do that. If I'm a person who's very private, leave me be. Just keep something sacred, something for your eyes only. In a world where everybody demands to see everything and share everything, you just want to keep some things of sentimental value to yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. If you enjoyed this conversation and this topic, please get active in the comment section down below. I always encourage that. For some reason, I've had quite a few comments on my Instagram, some DMs. So I've just concluded that some of you don't like to be public, or some of you prefer being private about your comments, and I can appreciate that. So I just want to say thank you to you for your comments and for your encouragement privately. It does motivate me to put more videos out there, because sometimes you do feel like, okay, there's no engagement. Is it touching where it should? And then you get a bit doubtful, and then I'm not sure if my information is valuable. So when I receive that comeback, or I receive comments like that, it does motivate me. It does help me in putting out more content like this. Or a lot of you have shared, okay, not a lot, some of you have shared some suggestions on videos. So upcoming videos, thank you so much to those of you who have privately messaged me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate even the ones who don't comment, because not everybody's comfortable, and like I said, I can respect that. But if you are comfortable, get active in the comment section down below. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider doing that now before the end of this video. I can wait. Just click that and hit the bell notification as well, please. I'm kidding, but I would really highly appreciate if you do. If it's a video that you feel it could be valuable to somebody else, share. Please share. That's what we're about. We're sharing. So in conclusion, let me remind you to find contentment. Find contentment in who you are, both online and offline. Be mindful of how your actions impact those around you. Be mindful of that. And above all, stay blissful. Stay blissful in the knowledge that your happiness comes from within and not from the virtual world. So remember that. So, whatever time zone you're at, whether it's morning, whether it's afternoon, whether it's night, wherever you are, be safe and have a good one. Until I see you again. Ciao.